Hello, this is Sierra and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another story video. We are reading another segment of part 3 of the Clockwork Chronicles, The Hero of Wonderberg. As you can tell from the title, just ignore any background noise that you might hear. It's probably alright, though it's a little annoying. Yeah, I tried recording this before. Things didn't go as well, but oh well. Anyway, if you haven't read any of the other parts, be sure you do so. Spoilers. Yeah. Stay tuned for... I don't know how long this is going to be, so... This will probably be a whole chapter's worth, because it's a pretty long one. But that just leads for the last one to be probably the last few. Depending on how long the chapters are. It depends on how long the chapters are. Anyway, let's get to it. Stampy wasn't sure what he was doing when he was running out of the Keen's house. When running out of Keen's house down the path towards the town of Wonderberg, all he knew was the feeling of urgency and dread. Something he couldn't quite understand. Something felt off. Just like it had in the dream. The dream that had scared him so much. Was it the Wonder Gem trying to tell him something? Or just another figment of his imagination that he had no reason to worry about? Part of him wanted to see that it was safe, but to be reassured that everything was at least as it was supposed to be. As the cat ran, he could hear feet pursuing from behind, knowing full well they must be his friends. He knew Sam Squishy wouldn't let him run off on his own. They wouldn't leave him to face whatever danger could be out there alone if they could help it. He was grateful for that, even though he never asked them to. His mind raced as he tried to come up with any idea of what was going on. Why was he feeling so uneasy? Was it a dream? Was it the dream? Was he just being a little paranoid? It could be a possibility. For all he knew, everything would be fine and he had nothing to worry about. Until he knew that, though. He would do this. They were getting close. It didn't take him long to arrive at the Wonder Gem, stopping just in front of the base on which it spun continuously, catching his breath, hearing his friends catching up to him not too far behind. After he was able to feel a little more steady, he looked up at the light blue crystal, its rainbow hue gleaming brightly, even brighter than the moonlight than the cat had realized. It was probably really late at night, the stars glittering in the sky with the moon directly above them, full and glowing, its silvery gleam. Everything looks fine to me, Sam told him simply after a long moment of silence. Yeah, the cat nodded, a smile sliding onto his face. Everything did look normal. The Wonder Gem appeared to be in him. Nothing seemed out of place, and none of Mr. A's men were around to try anything. It does look beautiful at night, though, Squishy said in amazement. I know, the cat said softly, as he gazed up at the gem, unsure of what he should do now. Should they return back to Keen's house? Should they stay and keep an eye on things? I think we should get home and get some rest, Sam replied. You look exhausted, Stampy. The cat nodded again and began to return home when he froze in his tracks. He heard another pair of footsteps coming towards them, one that unnerved him as he turned to see who it was. Pleasure seeing the three of you out so late, a voice said from behind them, as the cat looked directly into the eyes of the owner of that voice. The man was tall and had large, broad shoulders, looking about 3 times the size of the cat. Oops. He seemed to tower over them, even at a good distance. What are you doing here? Squishy demanded, as his friends turned to face the man who had arrived. I'd ask the same of you, the man said with a casual shrug. I just went on a simple stroll around the town to see what it's like. Rather nice place, if I do say so myself. And why should we believe you? Squishy asked simply. You're standing here. near the Wonder Gem, which we know Mr. A wants for whatever purposes he has for it. The man laughed. And you think he would just send little old me to do the job for him? Did he? She asked skeptically. The man shook his head slowly and smiled. You three are so gullible, aren't you? You have no idea what you walked yourself into. What do you mean? The cat demanded, staring the man directly in the eye, unafraid. So long as they were between him and the Wonder Gem, everything would be fine, right? Do I really need to elaborate, Stampy? The man said as he raised an eyebrow. A slight smile on his face. The smile puzzled the cat for a long moment, when he heard a small explosion behind him that sent a shiver through his spine. Someone had just taken the Wonder Gem out of its stand, the pedestal from which it was meant to remain. The cat's blood ran cold as he turned to face whatever was behind him, them as he noticed a familiar figure standing by where the gem used to be, holding the crystal in one hand, while also holding the strange gadget the cat had seen before in the other. Mr. A, the cat said in surprise, sure if he should feel stupid to think that someone wouldn't try to sneak up from behind, or ashamed to think everything had been fine until it wasn't. It's good to see you again on this lovely evening, the man said in a sincerely cold smile. I'm happy to have you all here to see this. And what exactly do you think you'll accomplish by doing this? The cat demanded. I've told you before. You don't know what the consequences you might cause if you try tampering with the Wonder Gem. Well, that's true, the man said with a shrug. I don't know the consequences, but I will be the one who has to deal with them. Put that back where it belongs or we'll make you, the boy demanded defiantly, the cat noticing him extending its sword. Mr. A laughed as he shook his head, shamelessly putting the gadget into the gem, and the cat gasped as he watched the claws admit from the small device and bite into the blue crystal, turning it into a deep ruby red color, the rainbow hue disappearing completely. The gem glowed a red, ominous glow. Doesn't it look lovely, Stampy Cat? The man mused as he lifted the gem towards the pedestal, seeing everything you fought for, stood for, as it crumbled underneath your feet. You're nothing, Cat. You're nothing more than a traitor. You will suffer for that. No, don't! The cat cried as the man let go of the Wonder Gem. As it began to spin, dread filled him as he realized it was spinning counterclockwise, just like it had in his dream. He was too late. He had failed. The cat watched as the gem spun around a few times before letting loose in a red blast that swept the cat off his feet as he fell to the ground, hearing his friends fall as well. The cat looked up to see Mr. A standing put, with a cold smile on his face, as the cat went to stand, seeing his friends do the same. A part of him was nervous, and another part afraid. Mr. A had done what he had come to do. He'd won, and the cat had failed to stop him. Another shiver crawled up and down his spine as he heard footsteps behind them. The cat turned to see townspeople heading towards them, their eyes cold and hard, accusing. There he is, Mr. A said boldly, pointing towards the cat as a laugh emitted from his lips. The one who betrayed you and will never rest until he is stopped. That's not true, the cat demanded as he turned to face the man again. He could hear the people approaching them. He knew they wouldn't listen to him. The gem was corrupted and changed, and he needed to fix it. Was there any chance in doing that now? Much as I would love to stay and watch, I have better things to do, the man, Mr. A said with amusement. Have a great rest of your night, however long that might be, Stampy. You can't do this, Stampy cried as the man pulled out an ender pearl and threw it, disappearing from sight. Gone. He had taken himself out of the picture. He had caused this, and he was taking no part in his downfall. Stampy turned back to his friends to see that they both had their swords drawn towards the approaching crowd. He felt nervous as all eyes were on him, the crowd hesitating for a split moment as the cat struggled to figure out what he should do. What's the plan, Stampy? Stam asked. bringing the cat back from its preoccupied thoughts. Don't hurt them, the cat told him. I'll see what I can do. We'll hold them back for as long as we can, Squishy affirmed with a nod. Please be careful. Tappy smiled and nodded. I can only say I'll try my best. Cat turned to face the Wonder Gem, its red glow seeming to glow brighter than the night sky, creating a red circle of light around it that moved like a moving siren. As the cat approached it, all the wonder and awe he felt turned to dread as he stood at its base. Could he do this? Would he be able to fix whatever damage Mr. A had caused? Or would the townspeople kill him before he got the chance? All of his efforts to try to get people to hear the cry of the YouTuber could now be undone if he didn't do something to stop it. He had to. Fear filled him as he took his first step up to the gem. At first it was small and feeble, but it grew every step he took as memories flashed into his mind. Memories of pain, abandonment, loneliness, loss. Mr. A had caused him so much pain, regardless of whether it was through Harold or RJ or even his own men. The man still always found a way to get to him, to bring him to his knees, crush him. This was no different. But he was indeed afraid. I have to do this, the cat whispered to himself, hesitating for a moment as he remembered the memory of standing in front of a hole in his cell that had been created by a creeper, a hole that had led to his freedom that almost cost him his life. But his friends had been there for him, just as they were now. Snappy looked over at his shoulder to the fight that he could hear behind him. Sam and Squishy were faring well at keeping the people back away from him. It filled him with courage, knowing his friends were still there for him, to protect him and help him. I can do this, he told himself softly, feeling a wave of courage rising up from the fear as he took his last few steps up to the Wonder Gem, looking up at its red glow, going to reach for it when suddenly he heard a subtle whizzing noise and felt a sudden sharp pain piercing his skin as an arrow hit his mark. Stampy gasped as he fell to his knees, pain filling him as he reached behind him and pulled out an arrow, its tip gleaming with dark redness. Blood. His blood. The cat heard footsteps approaching him as he tossed the arrow aside, tears stinging his eyes as pain cut deep. He looked up to see a man coming in his direction, another arrow drawn and ready to fire. What? How? The cat gasped in pain, falling to his hands and knees, unable to stand, too afraid that the man might shoot him again. He'd been so close. Was this really the end? You'll get what you deserve, traitor, the voice said coldly. You'll die alone, just how Gerald wanted so long ago. But I'm not alone, the cat said, choking back a sob of pain, feeling lightheaded as he struggled to see the man through his tears, through the pain that filled him with despair and defeat. Your friends are too busy to realize what's happening. The man mused with a smile. He aimed a bow and arrow directly at the cat. By the time they do, it'll be too late. No, the cat rasped, his mind swirling with anything he could do to stop the man. There was nothing. He was alone. He had no chance to fight against the man. The cat watched as the man let go of the arrow as it flew towards him. Steppy didn't know if he had the strength to move as he froze in fear. However, the cat and the man watched in shock. And the arrow was struck by a bolt of lightning, disintegrating to the ground. If I were you, I would check your surroundings first to make sure there aren't any other potential candidates that could intervene. A voice said from above in the tree as the cat looked up to see a familiar figure looking down at them. Heinous? The cat asked in shock, unsure if he should feel relief or unsure. What was Keen's brother doing here? Last time he'd seen the comedian had gone off to start a show far away from Wonderberg for all he knew. How many more wizards are there? The man stayed in surprise just as he was struck down by a bolt of light, screaming as he tumbled all the whole way down, unconscious. Far more than you care to know, the wizard said with a shake of his head as he jumped down from the tree before looking up at the cat. Now do your thing. I can lend a hand. Please don't hurt them, the cat asked weakly. All right. the man said. He said sincerely, with a nod, as he ran off to help Sam and Squishy in the battle. The cat now alone, right under the Wonder Gem, feeling a new kind of strength filling him. This was his last chance. Hades had given him just a little more time to do whatever they needed to do. The cat didn't know why he would hear or how he'd known that this was happening, but he was grateful for it so. It proved to him that he wasn't the villain that he had been the first time the cat had come across him with Wizard Keen. Stampede took a couple slow, deep breaths as he struggled to his feet, feeling his body shake as he reached out for the gem. Again, finally holding it once again in his paws. Easily, he see the gadget on the gem, sinking into the crystal as he went to pull it out, carefully removing it without much difficulty. The cat watched as the gem pulsed with energy, as if it had a heartbeat of some kind. Was it weak? Had Mr. A damaged it far worse than he had feared? Come on, there's gotta be a way to fix you, the cat whispered, as he brought the gem closer, feeling its warmth might touch its fur as he held it to his chest. He could feel his pounding heart as he added softly, I know you're still in there. I can feel it. The cat closed his eyes, listening to the gem quietly, feeling all the strength he had gained starting to dwindle. Dizziness returned as he tried to steady himself, hoping it wouldn't fall and shatter the precious gem. If it was broken in this state, would there ever be a chance to be fixed again? He didn't want to find out. Please, the cat said quietly, feeling its voice shake weakly. The pain from his injury was throbbing now, the cat trying his hardest to ignore it. It wasn't the important thing at the moment. He needed to fix this. He had to. Suddenly, the cat began to feel the Wonder Gem warming even more. The words started to form in his mind. Until, with one word, a sentence, question. I don't have to wonder if it can be fixed. The cat said simply with a sad smile. I know. The moment transformed until all the cat could see was an explosion of light as it engulfed him. As he held the gem in his paws, opening his eyes to catch a rainbow swirl surrounding him. Before the light died down, and the cat looked down to see the crystal blue Wonder Gem he knew so well. Yes, the cat finally said with a whisper. Now, I wonder what will happen if I put you back. He took a deep breath as he lifted up the gem back to its pedestal, the cat letting go as it began to spin clockwise around the cube. Smiled as he watched it spin a few times before he was suddenly thrust back by a rainbow blast that sent him rolling down the stairs, back to the hard ground, with a pained groan. Suddenly, all the noises of a battle stopped, as he looked up at the gem again, seeing the stars and moon once again, though they appeared more like blurred versions of those celestial beings, as he could feel tears of pain in his eyes. The pain only seemed to grow as he tried to sit up, only to be thrust back down. Suddenly feeling a pressure on his side, the cat looked up to see a shadow of a man looming over him, his figure only thing he could see. Get off me. The cat groaned weakly as he struggled, failed to push the man off. The man's foot, well, what he had assumed to be the man's foot, only created more pressure as the cat gasped in pain. The man was attempting to crush him under his weight. He thought you and your friends could be able to stop us, didn't you? The man sneered coldly as the cat heard the sound of something metal being extended. The cat noticed an iron sword gleaming in the moonlight. As the cat squirmed under the pressure he was forced to endure. He could barely breathe through the pain of the injury. This man wasn't making anything much easier. Well, they won't be celebrating for much longer. I can't. You can't. The cat pleaded weakly, groaning when the man increased the pressure. Finally, finding it harder to speak, unable to scream for help, too weak. He was in so much pain. Was it the end for him? Was this how he would die? Nothing but a nuisance to us, Tempicat, the man said darkly. You're nothing but a traitor to the cause. You know they'll come after you once they figure out what you did. I'm just giving you a favor by finishing you now. You don't want to know what they might do to you if given a chance. No, please, the cat groaned, as he squirmed under the man's weight, coughing as he tried to fight back, but finding he was unable to. This was it. This was how he was going to die. You'll thank me later, the man smiled darkly, Eddie raised his sword, threatening to send it down as the cat's eyes widened in fear, feeling the tears falling down his face. He had nothing left. He was being crushed under impossible weight, injured and alone. This was it, and there was nothing left he could do. Get away from him! A voice shouted. Suddenly the cat watched as a figure tackled the man off him, sending him to the ground as a coward grunt. The cat could hear his heavy breathing, gasping and coughing for air, pain overwhelming him in a whole new level. He didn't know what was going on anymore, only that he needed help. Pain was too much. It was all simply too much. Stampy? A voice asked softly. He heard footsteps before someone knelt beside him. The cat adjusted his gaze, looking into deep blue eyes. Eyes he recognized. The cat opened his mouth to say something, but it only resulted in a painful cough. The cat could feel eyes grow heavy. Eddie laid there, unsure of what to feel, what to do. Was it all over? Had they done it? Had they won the fight? Were the men finally gone? You should know. It's gonna be okay, Stampy. Trust me, the voice said gently. He felt someone lift his head. Smooth liquid filled him, the pain softening. He let out a pain sigh. Finally, closing his eyes as everything went black. It was bliss. It was peaceful. He knew it was safe. He was safe. He was alone. Unfortunately, we're going to have to end that episode there. There's more. There's like 3 more chapters left. 3 more. I think we can do this, though. I think so. So, stay tuned for the next one when it comes out. And yeah, I'll see you in the next... And I'll see you there. Bye.